So now we will start with the peripheral nervous system. Now the peripheral nervous system PNS connects the central nervous system to the different parts of the body having receptors and effectors. Depending upon the connection to the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system is classified into two main types, cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Cranial nerves are connected to the brain and spinal nerves are connected to the spinal cord. म्हणजे पेरिफेरल नर्वस सिस्टममध्ये काय होणार आहे, तो सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टमला दुसऱ्या डिफरंट पार्ट्स ऑफ द बॉडीला कनेक्ट करणार आणि यामध्ये रिसेप्टर्स आणि इफेक्टर्स असणार. या CNSच्या कनेक्शनवर डिपेंडेंट असल्यामुळे हा जो पेरिफेरल नर्वस सिस्टम आहे दोन भागामध्ये डिवाईड करणार. क्रेनियल नर्व्स जे ब्रेनला कनेक्टेड आहेत आणि स्पायनल नर्व्स जे स्पायनल कॉर्डला कनेक्टेड आहेत. सो आपण आता बघूया क्रेनियल नर्व्स जे आहेत ते 9 क्रेनियल नर्व्स इथे आपल्याला दाखवलेले आहेत. 9 नाही आहेत, जास्त आहेत, 11-12 असं आहेत. ओके, सो पहिलं आपण बघूया क्रेनियल नर्व्स. पहिली जी आहे ऑल्फॅक्टरी. नाव हे जे नंबर्स आहेत ते रोमन लेटरमध्ये लिहायचे. पहिली ऑल्फॅक्टरी. ऑल्फॅक्टरीचं म्हणजे नेम बघणार, टाईप बघणार, कुठून आली आहे ते बघणार, त्याच्यानंतर ती कुठल्या ऑर्गन्सला जाते ते बघणार आणि तिचं मेन फंक्शन काय आहे ते बघणार. सो द ऑल्फॅक्टरी नर्व्स, फर्स्ट cranial nerve is the olfactory nerve. It is a sensory type and it is originated from the olfactory bulb and the organs innervated are the epithelium of the nose and the function is smell. Second one is the optic, that is also a sensory one and it is the side of the, it is present it originates from the side of the diencephalon and it innervates the retina of the eye and its function is vision. Okay, तिसरी जी आहे, third one is the oculomotor, that is a motor type of the nerve and it arises from the floor of the midbrain and it innervates the eye muscles, 4 to 6 eye muscles, and it is involved in the movement of the eyeball. Then the fourth nerve is the pathetic. It is also a motor nerve and it is present at the floor of the midbrain and it innervates the eye muscle 1 to 6. Okay, one of the 6 eye muscles and the forehead and the scalp, and the function is the rotation and the movement of the eyeball. Okay, then the fifth nerve is trigeminal, that is the dentist nerve. It is a mixed type and it is originates from the ventral sides of the pons virali and there are trigeminals, means there are 3 nerves. So out of that, first one is the ophthalmic, which is sensory and it innervates the nasal cavity, upper eyelids, forehead, scalp, conjunctiva, lacrimal gland and the scalp. And this second one is the maxillary, that is also a sensory one. Okay, and it originates, the origin is not given. Okay, and it innervates the mucosa of the nose, palate, upper teeth, upper lips, lower eyelid, parts of the pharynx. Okay, and the last one is the mandibular, which is the largest cranial nerve and it is again of the mixed type. Okay, and it innervates the lower teeth, skin over the mandible, cheek, then side of the head in front of the ear and muscles of the mastication. The main function of this trigeminal is sensation of the skin, then touch, taste, jaw movement. Okay, then the sixth one is the abducens. Okay, now this abducens is a motor type and it originates from the pons and it innervates the muscles of the eyeball, lateral rectus muscles, and they are involved in the movement of the eye. Then the seventh one is the facial and this is bearing a geniculate ganglion, or it has a geniculate ganglion. It is a mixed type of nerve. It originates from the pons and it innervates the facial, scalp and the neck muscles, then the lacrimal, sublingual and submandibular and the nasal and the palatine glands. It controls the facial expression, movement of the neck, secretion of the tears, taste, and salivary glands. Then the eighth one is the auditory, or it is also called as vestibulocochlear. So these are sensory, and they are of two types, vestibular and cochlear. Okay, so the name vestibulocochlear, they are sensory, then arises from the pons, and they innervate the internal ear and help in the hearing and equilibrium. Okay, then the ninth one is the glossopharyngeal, and it is a mixed type, and it is origin is the side of the medulla oblongata. It innervates the pharynx, chunks, and the salivary glands, and the function is taste, salivation, and swallowing. Okay, then the 10th one is the vagus, that is the pneumogastric. It is a mixed type of the nerve. It arises from the side of the medulla oblongata. Arises from the side of the medulla oblongata, and it innervates the larynx, trachea, pharynx, alimentary canal, heart, lungs, pancreas, and the blood vessels. And the functions are visceral sensation and visceral movements like breathing. Then breathing, then cardiac, slowing cardiac, then slowing gastric and pancreatic secretion, and gastrointestinal movements. Then the 11th one is the spinal accessory, which is also motor type, and it originates from the side of the medulla oblongata, and it innervates the neck and the shoulder muscles and reflexes of the thoracic and the abdominal viscera, larynx, and the pharynx, and it controls the movements of the larynx, pharynx, neck, and the shoulder. Okay, the last one, the 12th one, is the hypoglossal. It is a mixed motor type, and it arises from the side of the medulla oblongata, and it innervates the tongue muscles, and therefore it involves in the movement of the muscles. So these are the 12 cranial nerves. Okay, so these cranial nerves, any question related to that can be asked as a MCQ, or a short note also can be asked on 2, 3, or 4 nerves. Okay, then we will come to the cranial nerves. Now, as I told you, these nerves, they develop from the brain in all the amniotes, that is the reptiles, birds, and mammals. There are 12 pairs of the cranial nerves. Roman numbering from 1 to 12 is used to denote them, and then these nerves originate from or terminate into the brain. According to the functions, they are classified as sensory. Sensory are 1, 2, and 8. Then motor are 3rd, 4th, 6th, 9th, 11th, and 12th. And mixed one is 5th, 7th, 9th, and 10th. Okay. Now you have to remember this, because anytime it can be asked. First nerve, what is the name, and then whether it is sensory or motor or mixed. Okay. The details of the cranial nerves present in the human body we have seen in the table 9.15. सो क्रेनियल नर्व्स आहेत त्या ब्रेनमधून डेव्हलप होतात. ते सगळ्या ॲम्लिऑट्समध्ये, जसं रेप्टाईल्स, बर्ड्स आणि मॅमल्समध्ये 12 पेअर आहेत क्रेनियल नर्व्सच्या. रोमन नंबरिंग 1 ते 12 आपण यूज करतो त्यांच्यासाठी. आणि ह्या नर्व्स आहेत ते ओरिजिनेट होतात ब्रेनपासून, परत ते टर्मिनेट होतात ब्रेनमध्ये. त्यांच्या फंक्शननुसार त्यांना 3 प्रकारात आपण क्लासिफाय करतो, सेन्सरी, मोटार आणि मिक्स. सेन्सरी जी आहे ती 1ली, 2री आणि 8वी आहे. मोटार जी आहे ती 3री, 4थी, 6वी, 11वी आणि 12वी आहे. आणि मिक्स जी आहे ती 5वी, 7वी, 9वी आणि 10वी आहे. ओके, आपण या क्रेनियल नर्व्सचं जे प्रेझेंटेशन आहे आपण रिप्रेझेंटेड हे टेबल 9.15 मध्ये आपण आता शिकलो. ओके, नाव वी विल सी द स्पायनल नर्व्स. 31 pairs of spinal nerves originate from the spinal cord, and they are mixed nerves, and they provide two-way communication between the spinal cord and the upper part of the lower and the upper limbs, necks and trunks. Spinal cords ह्या 31 पेअर्स आहेत आणि त्या स्पायनल कॉर्डमधून अराईज होतात. या मिक्स नर्व्स आहेत आणि त्या 2 वेनी कम्युनिकेशन करतात, स्पायनल कॉर्ड आणि आपल्या बॉडीचं अपर आणि लोअर लिम्समध्ये. ओके, म्हणजे हात आणि पाय त्याच्यामध्ये आले, नेक आणि ट्रंक रिजनमध्ये. ओके, सो स्पायनल कॉर्ड्स 31 ज्या आहेत त्या कशा प्रकारच्या आहेत ते आपण बघूया. सो दे आर डिवायडेड इंटू 5 groups. First one is the cervical, second is thoracic, then lumbar, sacral and coccygeal. So number of pairs, cervical are 8 pairs, that is from the neck region C1 to C8. Okay, so C1 to C8, that is 8 number, and the region of origin from the vertebral column, they arise from the neck region. Then thoracic are 12 in number, that is from thoracic 1 to thoracic 12, and they arise from the thorax. Then the lumbar are 5, so they are named lumbar 1 to lumbar 5, and they are present in the abdomen. Then the sacral, they are also again 5, from S1 to S5, they are present in the pelvis region. Then the fifth one is the coccygeal, that only one is there, CO1, they arise from they have the origin from the coccyle. Okay, then there are, out of the 12 pairs of the cranial nerves, only the 10th, vagus, passes into the body and innervates the internal organs. Vagus has a maximum number of branches and the longest distribution. Okay, then the fifth, that is the trigeminal or the dentist nerves, is the largest cranial nerve, and the sixth, the abducens, is the smallest cranial nerve. So you have to remember this. Okay, then now afterwards we will start with the formation of the typical